Oh, growing people in your organization is part of your job description, though nobody's gonna tell you how you should grow your employees. Through my career, I've seen many managers who are using push approach. That means that they are telling their employees what skills or technologies they need to learn. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure that engineering manager is an essential part of growing your employees, but I don't think that the manager should be a decision point of what people should learn. Let me dig in this thought. First, as a manager, you can have list of expectations or requirements from the person you hired. Second, performance review is happening only in scope of job description or position expectations. Third, as a manager, you can provide expectations and requirements based only on these things. So on the performance review, you can provide only feedback on how your report is doing now or how far they are from promotion. So yeah, on performance review or on the feedback you can provide, heck yeah, for this person to be promoted, they need to learn this skill, they need to do better on this stuff, they need to do this project, for example. And you're gonna be right, but consider this, sometimes people just don't want to be promoted. This is not part of their priorities and can be not in scope of their interests. However, they can be interested in growing some skills or learning technologies which are not part of their growth in the company.
So nerdy.
My philosophy on this question is next. People should be satisfied with their professional growth or the skills they want to learn. Sometimes this is not aligned with what company wants from them, and this is totally okay. As a manager, you can help them as a mentor, if you can, or this is something they're interested in. However, looking for the opportunities for them to grow these skills or technologies should be done by you as a manager only in case it's aligned with company goals. Let me clarify this last point. Imagine that your employee wants to learn some technology or some skills which your team does not need now and probably your team won't need it in future. Is it legit request? Definitely. If your report will ask you about some technology, why not to help them if you can or find somebody who can mentor them? However, you should not give the permission for this employee to learn this new technology during working hours by sacrificing part of their performance. Though, in case your report want to know new technology or the process or improve their skills of for example, some ownership, which can improve and benefit your team in the long run, that's a good moment for you to start planning giving them additional tasks, giving them ownership on some process, giving them chance to implement this process and move it to reality, at least in scope of your team. To understand what my employees want and how can I help them, I'm doing the thing which I'm calling development conversation. First, I prefer this conversation to be done once in a month instead of my weekly one-on-one. This will give just enough time to progress on some points which we are defining during development conversation. During development conversation, we are selecting three things. First, what I call big goal. Big goal is our long-term goal, something which your employee want to achieve in the next 6 months, 1 year, maybe even 1.5 years. In most cases, that's promotion. And that's always giving us time to speak about this big goal on our development conversations at least once in a month, and we can define what employees should do to achieve that goal. Second, two smaller goals, something which we can achieve during the quarter. For example, get better in unit testing, get better in documentation, get better in presentation skills or other stuff. For every of this goal, we are defining next sections. First is brainstorming. Together with employee, we are brainstorming what employee can do to develop their skills. For example, if employee want to increase their skills in documentation, that can be such items like clear our Confluence pages, or create a documentation for this API, or third, clean up our old documentation, refactor documentation, and make sure the documentation is up to date. Second is active sections. From the brainstorm section, we are moving some items which employee gonna work between our development conversation. So, for example, if we decided to do housekeeping on our Confluence page, we are moving it from brainstorm to active, and then on the next development conversations, we will check what's the status of this item. Third is, of course, done. Once we think that one of the item from the active section is done, we are moving it to the done. So first of all, it helps us to store the log, what was completed, how can we apply this to other projects and other stuff. And the second is for employee to see what a long journey they already came through. So if you want to start doing development conversation with your reports, I highly recommend you to gather the meeting. First meeting is to discuss what the process look like, how you'll put these items, how you'll check the items, what will be the section, what are the big goals. Sometimes you will need to give homework to your employee to come up what they want to learn, how they want to grow, because growing of employee is actually work of employee and you are there only to help them. So you're creating this document, creating these sections and giving some homework. In most cases, people will come up with their big goals and small goals on the next development conversation. So you can do development conversation in the beginning more often, for example, on the bi-weekly cadence, while you set up the goals, while you set up the items, and then you can move it to monthly format. And the second, on every development conversation, go through the items and check what their status. Ask where you can help, maybe they got some questions, maybe they have some escalations. So basically you need to help them to move through these items. So the goal is to move as much as possible items into done. Such types of meetings are helping me and my employees to have some, dedicated space for us to discuss what is their development goals, how we are moving towards this, and that's quite clear expectations between every development conversation from month to month, what needs to be done, how they want to improve their skills, and how they want to achieve their goals. By the way, in the description for this video, you can find the link for the document for the template, which I'm using with my employees to create this development conversation, so feel free to use them. And as always, I'm asking you to put the like for this video, hit the subscribe button, maybe leave some comment. That would mean a world for me. Thank you and see you in 2 weeks.
So nerdy.